Hey guys, and welcome back. Today's video is going to be something along the lines of how to get good grades with minimal work, or how to hack the kind of school system. Before we get started, I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of tell you what I'm doing at uni, how far I am at uni, and what my grades are like. So I am doing a bachelor's degree in business and commerce. I'm majoring in HR management and I'm sub-majoring in management and economics. My degree is a 3-year degree. However, in the first year of my degree, I wasn't the best student. So I'm currently in my 2nd year of my degree, although I have been completing this degree for around 2 years almost. In terms of my grades, since my first year, my grades have gotten a lot better. So I am on an average of a distinction or a credit student. So I'm doing very well at uni, and a lot of these things, my grades are pretty heavily related to these things that I do and these things that I've done for the past year or so to get my grades up. Now, I am making a cup of tea at the moment. I am making, if you guys have seen my other study with me videos, you know that I always make a cup of tea before I study. It's like a reward. And I guess that's a tip in itself, is to just have a reward for the hard stuff that you're going to do. I also like to start off with a very clean desk and have all my stuff set out before I sit down to do my work. Before we get started, I'd also like to know what degree or what you are studying, and without further ado, let's get on to the tips. So the first way of hacking the system, I guess, is to read and implement your learning guide. Now, what you see on the screen is one of my learning guides, and I go to Western Sydney University, and this is your Bible. Honestly, I know not everybody has the same, not everybody knows what a learning guide is, but it's like a criteria, it's like a syllabus, it's like whatever your institution calls it. Now, as you can see on the screen, it has everything. It has all of your assessments, and it has your assessment dates, your how it's different to a normal exam, when it's going to be due, the time, and then it has your submission requirements. If you know this stuff, you will not fail. Honestly, if you know this stuff and you implement this stuff, so it has stuff like do not manipulate your headers, have Arial 12 font or whatever, and it just tells you how to do it. And it also has a section for schedule of activities. Well, mine does anyway. So when you click on that, you can see what readings you need to do, which tutorial it is, if you're going to have a quiz this week, if you're going to have an assessment this week. So that is really helpful, and I would really recommend that you guys get on that. Now, we've looked at our learning guide, so the next thing that I think is really important is to only do the work benefited to you. Some of the time, teachers, or not some of the time, most of the time, teachers set you work that is just too much work. It's just crazy, too much work will be set, and you have to figure out, kind of suss it out for the first couple of days and figure out what is helpful, what is used in the assessments, which resources your teachers go back to, which ones they recommend, and only read those resources. Don't waste your time on the textbook if the textbook has nothing to do with the exam questions. Don't waste your time on reading the articles that they suggest if those articles have nothing to do with what you're learning. So for me, one of my subjects I do not have a final exam for. So in that subject, I do not do the extra readings. I only do the readings that are going to be useful for my final assignment and all the other assignments that are going to add up to my grade. If you have some time and if you don't mind doing the extra work, by all means, and if you're interested in the topic, by all means go ahead and do all the readings, knock yourself out. But for those of my girls and guys who are just trying to pass, literally only do the work that will help you, or only do the work that like resonates with you in your mind, and don't do the work that is set out for you. So yeah, so like I mentioned, we don't have a final exam in that, so I don't do the readings. But in my enterprise law course, we do have an exam, and that exam is a open book exam. So in that subject, I'm reading my textbook, I'm taking notes on my textbook, and I'm making sure that I have every information that I need from that textbook, so I know how to navigate through it during my exam. And I also just want to point out, on my table you can see there's a little bit of like brown staining, and I do my makeup on that table, and I guess I didn't remember to clean it to take this shot, so I hope that you don't mind. And for my other assessment, it is also very textbook heavy. So I read the textbook, but for this subject, the lecturer who does this subject is a little bit unorganized, and he kind of just gives us work for the sake of giving us work. And a lot of these are articles, and it takes me so long to read through these articles that it's just, and I don't even understand them. So it's just like the biggest waste of time for me to read these articles. And another thing is, so to save time, I write my notes in Google Documents, so I have my notes wherever I go, and the drive is really good for your storage. But if you don't learn that way, don't write your notes online. If you learn better by writing like I'm doing here, then write down your notes. Please don't conform to a standard just because your university is telling you to do it. However, I need to make a disclaimer: try everything out first. Don't think, oh, I'm doing this subject, so the textbook's not going to be useful. Try everything out and understand and listen to your teachers to figure out what you want to do and how you're going to actually get that information off the resources that you have into your brain. And that's the one thing that's helped me a lot through my time at university. So the next thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about is class. If your class is helpful, then please try and go to class every single week. Even if you wake up and you don't feel like it, still get up and go to class, because you will not regret not going to class ever. On the other side of that, if your class isn't compulsory and the lecturer is not useful at all, he doesn't go through anything in detail, he just reads off the lecture slides, then don't go to class. That's all I can say. Just don't waste your time sitting in a 2-hour class that's not compulsory and not helpful. I would definitely recommend getting a good solid amount of work in for that 2 hours, as opposed to just like wasting your time, as I mentioned before. So the last and final tip that I have for you guys is to look at your exam papers. Now this is so important, because again, if you don't look at your exam papers, then you're not going to know what to study. And it's insane, because I've had those moments in high school where I would study so much for an exam but go in and not know anything. And so if you look at your exams and study accordingly, then you will pass your exams. Trust me. Like, if you don't do any other work except for your exam work, you are highly likely to pass the exam. So those are all the tips that I have for you guys. I really hope that this was like a little bit helpful for you. If it was, please do give me a thumbs up and press that subscribe button. Other than that, I shall see you in my next video. All the best for your units and your semesters this year, guys. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!